for today, just for context, I guess to start off, the round of presentations, I thought it would make sense to look at some trends to think about specifically for 2010. I know a lot of us are getting into planning efforts and looking at, what tactics, what strategies to employ for our marketing programs moving into next year. So just some thought starters, no more than 10 minutes here, top 10 things you might want to think about as you're looking at 2010 planning. Also, you probably want to think about these things as we look at the presentations and hear the presentations over the next couple of days. Definitely some good information. So, not going to get into the sales pitch. If you want to see us, we're over in a booth. We have a lot of folks from Klick here today. Check out our website as well. So let's get right into the top 10 things you might want to think about for 2010. This is one thing you're hearing at all the conferences, especially over the last few years, never mind last few weeks. Social media becoming more mainstream. I think we're moving beyond, we're evolving beyond it just being, this new shiny thing that everyone's thinking about. It's becoming a lot more mainstream and integrated into our everyday conversations as it relates to marketing. And, it's going to be interesting when we move beyond this, from being social media marketing to just marketing. It's the new conversation, if you will. It's engaging our customers in a way that's relevant to them. What was interesting a few weeks back in September, if anyone was at the IAB, the Mix conference there, you had the chairman of AOL, you had the CEO of Yahoo, all the top name speakers. The number one presentation that everyone was looking out for was Ashton Kutcher. And what was interesting, when you look at him, in a short period of time, 4 million followers. So it's becoming real when we've got someone like Ashton getting 4 million. And again, this is is it completely relevant to pharma? I think what we want to look at is not how many followers that we have, but how can we actually engage in meaningful conversations and how we make this real. Some more tangible developments when you've got things like Google, things like Bing, actually being able to search the tweets. So again, this external world, which was fairly self-contained, is really moving into more of the mainstream, and that's the point that we want to get across. So as it relates to social media, beyond Twitter, it's more about conversation, and when you've got things like Vark.com, where it's people actually looking for information and asking questions, posing questions, and getting information. So I guess the question we need to ask ourselves as marketers is, if there's this direct person-to-person dialogue, what's the role for pharma? What role do we play in the conversation? We're moving away from control and into a world of influence and a world of participation, which can be scary. But there's definitely ways to do it and to do it well. So the implication there, I think one of the first steps that we want to take is to start by listening. We can put our toes in the water, if you will. We don't have to jump in head first. But if we're not listening, we're keeping our heads in the sand, which is no good. The dialogue is happening. So it just makes sense that we want to make sure that we can at least hear what's out there and then formulate a plan as to how to respond. Number 9, pervasive use of technology in solving marketing challenges. I think in years past, it's always been, you've had your IT group for operational solutions, you've had your digital plan, let's carve off 5% of the budget, and it's an afterthought. I think where we're evolving to, especially as we move into next year, is technology being pervasive across all our different our problem-solving activities. So whether it's how do we engage customers, how do we empower reps, how do we empower patients, whatever it might be. I think there's a role to play. And the reason that I think that, and the implication is, really technology can be a multiplier. It's not a zero-sum game here. There's definitely a role for technology to play in terms of you getting more for less, if you will, or how do you better amplify some of the other efforts that you're doing. So some of this multi-channel thinking, there's definitely a role. The number 8 thing that we want to think about is this kind of shift. And the way that we talk about it is a shift from a wait-and-see mentality to a try and learn. And I think it's interesting when you look at a lot of the different pharmas and some of the activities that everyone's undertaking. You go back a year or two and this whole concept of, J&J having a blog. It was revolutionary for the industry. But, I think we're now at a point where we've got, multiple pharmas, everything from Twitter, everything to YouTube channels, to, more innovative tactics that are out there. So everyone's dabbling their toes in the water, if you will. So if you're one of the few that isn't, definitely we want to think about how do we test and learn. So the easiest solution really is pilot programs. I think that's one of the great things about the digital channel is the upfront investment doesn't have to be huge. There's definitely small compartmentalized things that you can do. The other benefit is really the power of data, and that a lot of the activities that you would undertake would actually be data rich. So to get learning in a short period of time, there's definitely that opportunity. The number 7 thing that we want to think about is the increasing online usage from both patients and HCPs. Whether it's Manhattan or Pew, I think the learnings are fairly consistent. It's not a new channel. This is a critical daily component of our customers' lives, whether that's the end user or the physician audience. So I think what we need to do is really think about balancing our marketing mix. And this isn't, okay, I'm going to take 5% and put it to display advertising. This is really about how do we understand where our customers are and how to engage them more effectively. If you were to pull up some of the TNS figures and show the discrepancy between traditional spend, in the world of DTC versus that online, there's still, it's a night and day disparity. So how can we at least get pointed in the right direction and making sure that we're investing where our customers are? The 6th thing that we want to think about is data. Data intelligence becoming that underpinning of marketing programs. And I think some of the presentations that you're going to see over the next 2 days are going to talk to this. And really what we're talking about here is we're moving beyond brochure, where we're moving beyond static communications, beyond monologue, to one where we're actually using data intelligence to inform the right message to the right person at the right time. So I think there's a number of vendors and a number of solutions that you're going to see over the next couple of days where data intelligence will definitely be at the core. I think one of the key learnings that we've had at Klick engaging with our clients is to really facilitate data planning up front. So it's not go build a plan and then you're weeks away from actually being in market and then, hey, wait a minute, how do we measure this? How do we better inform this? So this really needs to be something that we're thinking about right from the very start. So make sure that you integrate it into your kickoff planning.